Hey everyone. I've been missing him today. I have. Um it's just one of those days where my head and my heart are just not lining up completely. And I know it's going to be a while because it's partly my attachment style. Um okay, so speaking of attachment styles, I am an anxious preoccupied working to be secure. Um, and I am 99.9% sure that he's a fearful avoidant. And so, what does that really mean? So, there were a lot of things that he said that made me realize he was a fearful avoidant. And what was sad about what happened between the two of us, I think, is the fact that a part of me feels like I figured that out a little too late. And and by the time I figured that out, he didn't want to try anymore. So we have two people who really didn't verbalize to each other what they needed. And it's not impossible to make it with this combination of an attachment style, but it requires really honest communication. Really honest communication. And so I guess a part of me struggles with this whole thing simply because I wish we could have tried longer. But that is the reality of like being in a relationship. And I don't mean a romantic one, though obviously that's one kind of relationship, but any kind of relationship. It takes two people. One person can't do the work. And the sad part is like, I wish he wanted to do the work with me. And so so I guess I'm feeling all this mix of disappointment with that. And I struggle because I'm trying to respect the fact that he is his own person. And if he really wanted to work it out with me, if he really did see something that he wanted to keep trying, he would have, right? Um, and so that's just difficult. It's difficult because I don't ask questions at the moment things are happening. Like there's things he said that I wish I could have processed at that time to ask him to explain what he exactly meant. Like I just presumed I just understood what he was talking about, but now I'm like, I don't know. I guess too when he was like, "Are you trying to change my mind?" I was like, "No. I was trying to just understand." But at the same time, I guess I did. I did want him to change his mind. So it's such a weird place, you guys, because I gotta respect him. Gotta respect his choices. And there is nothing like wanting to make something work that the other person doesn't want to. Like, I've done this unrequited thing too many times. Where it seems so noble, like, oh, all the sacrifice and trying and trying. But no, like, I gotta get out of that. You know, he didn't want to try. Like, I have to get that through my mind. Like, he did not want to. Or he did want to, but he was afraid to. But either way, doesn't change the actual result. Whether he wants to or he's afraid to or whatever it is, the same result is there, which is no effort to try to fight for it, right? And I gotta not find that attractive. Like, and I'm not saying I find it attractive, but like, why do I sit and think about it still. Like, why does it creep up in my mind? So I miss him. And sometimes I ask myself, do I miss him, or do I miss the feeling of when he was in? Because when he was in, he was in. But when he was out, he was out. So I don't know. I do know I miss him. But I also know that I probably miss the version of him that was in. And that version is not here anymore. I mean, who he is as a person is still here. But I just wish we could have just talked. Like, really talked before things just imploded. Before things just stopped. And, yeah. It's hard, you guys. Like, this process is going to be difficult at different points. I'm stronger at some points than others, you know. So, and I shouldn't say stronger, because stronger kind of makes it seem like to have these points of weaknesses. Oh, again, there I go, using those words again. But these points of like just feeling this particular way and processing what I'm feeling or thinking or whatever is supposedly like a negative thing. Like, I gotta get out of that headspace. I gotta get out of that headspace that tells me that I have to have it all together, and I have to be okay with this whole thing. And I think, you know, that's part of, like, I'm excited to talk to my therapist about that next week. You know, I think that has a lot to do with my parents, my family, just Christian culture that tells you you have to have it all together. They say that you don't have to have it all together, right? They say, like, you need Jesus. But at the same time, once you have Jesus, suddenly you have to have it all together. And you can't show flaws, and you can't show struggle, and you can't show negativity, and you quote unquote negativity, which is sometimes just realness, right? And I think that's something I battle with Christian culture. And I know that it's, and I don't want to call it Christian culture, because I think the heart of the Christian faith is being real, is being dependent upon the Lord, and it is leaning upon him. And it's not this like self I don't know, wanting to look a particular way, be a particular way, look like you got it all together. I feel like in a lot of ways, like, Christians have the tendency to want to always have the answer, instead of like finding the beauty in like the mystery of God and not always having the right answer. And my parents sometimes feel like, Phoebe, stop like saying Christians like you're not one of them. You're a Christian too. Like, why are you being so negative about it? And I think there's a lot of anger I have about it all. To be honest, I think there is a lot of anger that I'm still processing about how I feel when it comes to how vulnerable the Christian faith allows you to be. This version of Christian faith in America, I think I have a real problem with it a lot of the times. And obviously, I have to watch what I'm saying about that, because I know that's not representative of all Christians in America, but just I feel like mainstream version of it. It's only now that a lot of Christians are feeling more freedom to really be authentic in their struggles, to not feel like you have to just throw out some Bible verse and say that everything's okay. Sometimes not everything's okay. Sometimes the moment requires you to just grieve for a while. Feel something for a while. So I'm just giving myself permission, you know? I'm giving myself permission. And I think God gives me that permission. People might not give me that permission, but God gives me that permission. You know, he created me with the whole spectrum of emotions. I'm I'm always asking myself if I'm doing things from a place of health or a place of insecurity. I'm always asking myself, am I asking too much of somebody else, or am I asking too little, in the sense of like, I'm not being true to myself? Like, I look back at my conversation with him, and I'm like, did I say everything? Because I told him the one thing I wanted to do was make sure I said everything I needed to say. And, I don't think I did. I don't think I did. And I think I was afraid to ask him a few things. I realize that now. Because I didn't necessarily want him to not answer. But I don't know what he would have done. I don't know if he would have answered those questions. Because I think he was just trying to learn to, like, put boundaries for himself and wanting to protect himself. And I'm here just, like, appeasing, like I always do, which is part of the problem and part of the thing that I'm trying to figure out with my attachment style, like how to stop doing that kind of situation of like, it is okay to sacrifice certain things or to not push certain things, but like, what do I need? Like, what stuff do I need? Like, that's still something I'm growing in. Like, I have a really poor understanding of what I need. And I don't know if for anyone who's listening to this particular one, and maybe if you could comment on this video with, how well do you really know what you need? Like, are you a person that can really verbalize what you need very easily? Or are you a person that struggles to even know what you need because you've spent your whole life kind of like catering to people, that you've almost like learned to numb the voice in your head about what you need, because you almost felt guilty for even having any need? That's like something that I am like recovering from. Like that guilt of like going, I don't want to say yes to this. Having boundaries to go, I'm not going to let a person make me feel guilty. Not that they can make me feel guilty, but you know what I mean? Like but they can influence that feeling, right? I don't want to do this. I'm going to have scripturally say, let your yes be yes and your no, no. And I'm going to own my no's. And you may not like my no's. You might want me to say yes, but it's a no. It's a no. And that's really been a journey for me. So I know I touched on a variety of things in this vlog. I never come in with an idea of what I'm going to say, but which probably shows. But that's my thoughts for today, at least. Thanks.